gentlemen, brace yourself for our last panel discussion of the day, a topic at the heart of India's logistic discourse. Despite its growth potential, India continues to face real operational constraints from infrastructure gaps and port congestion to weak multimodal linkages and last-mile delays. Today's leaders will explore how India can address these span points decisively and build a logistic ecosystem that can compete confidently on the global stage. First, I would like to invite on stage our absolutely wonderful moderator for this session, Ms. Chaitaly Mehta, Convenor, Women's Wing, FFFAI. Ms. Chaitaly Mehta oversees the Women's Wing of FFFAI, promoting diversity, inclusion, and professional development within India's freight forwarding community. She champions initiatives that enhance skills, leadership, and participation of women in logistics sectors. Chaitaly, it's good to have you back again. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Rohan Dixit, Director, Business Development, Clearship Group. Mr. Dixit leads strategic partnerships, client acquisition, and growth initiatives in international freight forwarding and supply chain services. With a strong grasp of trade flows and market dynamics, he strengthens the company's global logistics footprint. Welcome, Mr. Dixit. Next, we would like to invite on stage Mr. Arjun Mohindru, Executive Director, EMU Lines. He brings deep experience in maritime operations, liner services, and international cargo management. Under his leadership, EMU Lines continues to strengthen its globe trading connectivity and service reliability. Welcome, Mr. Arjun. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Viraj Vohra, Director, Continental Carriers. Mr. Vohra brings experience in global cargo operations, strategic trade facilitation, and client service excellence, contributing to the company's growth in maritime and logistics services. Welcome, Mr. Vohra. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Girija Shanker, Chief Product Officer, Logistics and Services India, South Asia, Maersk Line. With extensive experience in freight services, supply chain integration, and regional shipping operations, he drives product innovation and supply chain optimization across the region's maritime and logistics network. Welcome, Mr. Shankar. And next, I would like to call on stage Mr. Venkatadri Ranganathan, GM Logistics, Tata Chemicals Limited. With broad experience in commodity trading and industrial supply chains, he oversees export distribution, raw material sourcing, and trade facilitation for one of India's major chemical manufacturers. Chaitaly, over to you and have a wonderful panel discussion. When a woman is a moderator for a panel discussion, there's no doubt it's going to be absolutely amazing. Over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Am I audible? Okay. All right. Good afternoon to everyone. I haven't felt pressure like this for a while, so if I mess up, please do excuse me. I have to say thank you to everyone who has come for the last session of the day. And I have my biggest cheerleader group over here, my family from FFFAI and BCBA, so thank you so much for being here. I also have friends from overseas who've just come right now for the session, and I'm extremely, extremely thrilled for that. So thank you for being here. It feels nice. I'm just going to set off. Just give me a second, please. Hi, 1 second. So our topic for today is India at the Crossroads, Overcoming Operational Challenges in Indian Logistics. India's 317 billion logistics market is at a turning point, and we are meeting at a pivotal moment. As the country works towards its 5 trillion economy goal by 2027, businesses are dealing with everyday challenges because whilst India's logistics sector is the engine of its economic ambition, it yet faces unique, deeply embedded operational challenges from last mile connectivity and infrastructure bottlenecks to the integration of modern technology. From crowded ports to state by state rule changes, GST, these challenges hit businesses where it hurts the most: profits, delivery times, and customer satisfaction. India's logistics market has grown into a powerhouse by reaching 317 billion in 2024, according to Statista. What's most striking is the growth ahead. Experts predict this market will hit 484 billion by 2029, growing at almost about an 8.8% yearly increase. These numbers show how important this sector is to the India's economic future, and I have always called us, the logistics industry, the spinal cord of the global economy. The crossroads in our title refers to this precise moment. Do we continue with the legacy systems, or do we embrace the revolutionary changes necessary to unlock our true potential, as the choices we now make will determine whether our logistics accelerates India's rise or it hinders its potential? This panel brings together industry leaders and experts dedicated to finding a practical solution. Our goal today is not just to outline problems, but to forge a path forward. We now start with our panel discussion. I have to ask this question of my panelists, to you, Rohan, Arjun, Viraj, as well as to Girija, because this one is a little personal for me. You know, the white elephant in the room is the tariffs. We spoke about it, we've been speaking about it, it's come, it's hit us. It's taken a couple of us blindsided. I have to say that everybody talks about the industry. And when they talk about the industry, they talk about exporters, they talk about importers, and they talk about the global economy. But nobody talks about us, the logistics industry, which has also suffered. So, the air cargo volumes dropped to a record 9-year low. Ocean was also impacted. I want your take on how much has it impacted you. What has your thought process been as to how do you want to move forward from this? Because I personally believe that we are too overly dependent on US as a market or as a client base for us. And how do we get out of this? So shall I start with you, Rohan, in that necessary order? Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Chaitaly. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, IICS and Mohit, for giving me this opportunity. So to talk about the US, I think these tariff changes are going to be the norm, right? So let's learn from what happened in China. Let's say about 6-7 years ago, when they were hit with tariffs, they adapted by setting up their own companies in the US. They became importers in the US. They moved manufacturing from China to other places. They figured out ways to, let's say, repack, add value in a third country. We spoke about friend shoring, so they went to Vietnam. So I think India needs to accept that the new tariff changes is going to become the norm. Right? Let's not think that Trump's going to go away in 2 years and then we'll go back to normal.
Yes.
What if the next leader is even worse for India?
Agreed.
Right? So it's important that we as logistics companies become more flexible, start looking at newer markets, give ideas to customers. Today we're like, instead of, let's say, crying over spilt milk, let's look at solutions that can come through. Talking about volumes, I think misery for someone is opportunity for someone else.
It is.
So we've gained a lot when the large forwarders who controlled big FOB business are no longer shipping from India. These customers are insisting on DDP, and we've been gaining from those. So we just have to be, ready that more changes will come through, and maybe have a pipeline of businesses, maybe not depending on the US, or also looking at newer commodities. I think that's going to be what we should do.
Thank you, Rohan. That's an interesting perspective. Arjun?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chaitaly. Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, ISCS, for making me part of this esteemed panel, this experienced panel. Okay, US, like you rightly said, the white elephant in the room. Yes, we have to accept the fact that US is India's biggest customer. We need the US. It's not like we can do away with them. Uh, for example, like you said, ocean volumes are impacted. We are down by about 25%. So, being India's leading LCL operator, we used to carry about 100,000 CBM, both in and out, and we are down by 20%. So, of course, everybody is impacted, and like you rightly said, Chaitaly, before, that there are some people who are solely dependent on US, and yeah, the situation is grim. But we, as a worldwide consolidator, how have we sort of tried to offset or compensate for those volumes is to look at other sectors. So we've looked at Central South America. That's one of our key sectors, and we are one of the only consolidators who are making weekly direct boxes to Manzanillo, Veracruz, Buenos Aires, Santos, Callao, and actually we have our partner, South Cargo, he's sitting right there, supporting us with it. So we have a good mix of both prepaid and FOB business. So South America right now, India exposed to South America is about $14 billion. This was the figure in financial year 24-25, and it's going to hit about 20 billion at the end of 26. So yes, we need the US, and of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what will happen in January, what will happen in February. I hope it comes back, and it has to, I think. It has to at some point.
I think
Yeah, at some point it has to. But yes, there are other sectors, there are other emerging markets that we're looking at, and the decline in the volumes that we had with the US have South America and Latin America have actually compensated for it. So that's that.
it's very interesting that you say that, because I was just in Colombia a couple of months ago, and everybody was talking about Make in India,
Yeah.
and the fact that we are doing so phenomenally well. They know our Prime Minister's name, and they're like, oh, you have a Make in India, and we are looking forward to dealing with India. And I'm like, yeah, because, that means there's more work for us as logisticians. But yes, South America is going to be the next Africa as far as India is going to be concerned. Viraj, your views, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Firstly, thank you for having me a part of this panel. I think with regards to the tariff, I definitely second the view that Rohan and Arjun have said, which is that as freight forwarders, we need to, it's the need of the hour to be absolutely agile, to be flexible. Like Arjun said, there's been a big shift from the US going into South America, and then, a lot of different companies have very different supply chain, and everyone's kind of pivoting, right? I think from our perspective as Continental, what we've seen is that, we're about 50 to 60% of our business was dependent on the US. So I think the first move that we did, the moment there was news of the tariff, we started to focus on, imports. We started to focus on a lot of other areas, which, just became a much stronger focus. On the other hand, though, what is interesting for us is that while there is a dip in a lot of the lower value segments, so items such as furniture, handicraft, textiles, garments, we've definitely seen a dip. But pharmaceuticals, on the other hand, we've seen a huge rise simply because, with the tariff placed on the patented drugs, a lot of the generics guys were scared that they were anticipating tariffs on their goods.
Yes.
So they were drop shipping and sending loads into the US. Same in the case for automotive. I mean, there are some goods that are standardized globally, brake pads and things like that, which were at a 27% tariff globally, irrespective of India or any other sector. So we've seen a huge uprise actually in these volumes. So I think it's just about being agile and being very flexible. In my view, I think that's just the need of the hour, to answer your question.
That is so interesting what all three of you have said, is because diversification and diversity is the key, especially when you are an SME or an MSME, and if you are dependent on one particular product or one particular country, it hits you, and it really hits you.
100%. Yeah.
So it's so important that regardless of the size of your company, you have to explore, and you need to have at least two clients from different sectors. So when one sector dips, it's very essential that your next sector is working. Otherwise, it's just going to be rock bottom for everyone. So diversification, if people haven't done, then this is the key time to actually do diversification. Yes, Girija, to hear from you.
No, thank you, and again, thanks for the opportunity. I think more or less concur with what's been said, so I'm not going to repeat. Just two facts, maybe. In last about week, $60 billion have been announced as FDI in India by American companies. So look, we sometimes take a particular piece and it's news bite, so it's easy, etc. Like Viraj rightly said, there is a genuine challenge, but it's not disproportionate and it's transient. So as long as the directional clarity is there, and if you are able to be the lowest cost, highest quality provider, have your cost of supply chain in order, no tariff, you're going to succeed. I think it boils down to that basics of running business. Rest will fall in place.
I have a little bit of a differing view with you on that, Girija, because when you look at it from our perspective, as a freight forwarder or a customs broker, we don't really have the privilege or even, I would say, the audacity to say no to business that comes our way, unlike the shipping lines or the airlines, because we are the ones who are feeding into you all. So when we get clients, we will pick them up initially to start off with, especially when you are a small setup, to start growing up. But a lot of agents have been impacted, a lot of industries have been, but they are definitely, and that brings me to the next point, is that also one of the reasons that the logistics industry has also been reeling is because of the shippers not wanting to explore different markets. Like we have clients who will say, oh, we are happy with our existing business and our existing buyers. We don't really want to go to a new, we don't want to invest money and go to an exhibition and find clients and things like that. So that was my next question, especially to you, Viraj, as well as Rohan, because you deal with all sets of clients, is that how willing have your clients been to look at nearshoring, friendshoring, reshoring, or even onshoring? And have they, when you guys discuss with them, have they actually even come to this point that, listen, we are going to look at explore new markets and we are going ahead with that, regardless of the size? I'm not talking the big guys, I'm talking the mid-sized guys, because the more unwillingness comes from there.
I think from what I'm observing, definitely, I mean, the terms like friendshoring, nearshoring, a lot of that is going on. But, speaking in context to the tariffs, right? I think everyone is at a state where, they're just doing anything to figure out a solution, right? I mean, I know one of our clients, he's paying 50% tariffs just because he wants to retain on to his buyers. And he chooses to take on significant losses month on month, hoping that one day the tariff, hopefully soon, the tariff gets revised. And I hope for his sake it does.
Yes.
But, different people have different strategies in place. So I think at this point it's just unprecedented and everyone's doing whatever they can.
Yes. Everybody has a different working model. Rohan?
So, Chaitaly, couple of examples. We are working with two customers, one who's setting up a plant in Mexico, because Mexico and the US, they have NAFTA and all of that.
Yes.
So not only are we moving cargo for them from India, we're moving it from Thailand, from China. I think we're also trying to move some shipments from Germany for them. So this company, of course, is a very large industrialist, so they're able to do this. We're setting up a plant for 3 companies in Egypt because of the Red Sea situation. They are moving a lot of cargo from India to Egypt. I met with some customer. They've set up like a warehousing and packing station in Saudi Arabia, but they did this maybe 3 years ago, right? So now they're ready. When the US tariff came in, they're ready. So what applies to us applies to your customers as well. If they're not agile, if they're not going to be mapping the market and seeing what will happen, they're going to die as well. So there's enough opportunity, there's enough capital available, people can access capital to relocate, but I think it's happening. Enough companies are doing it. the company that's investing in Egypt, they've invested about 80 million, 100 million,
That's
just setting up.
impressive.
That's a substantial amount.
That's very impressive.
So people are doing it. I think they just have to be more open to it.
Thank you. And with that, we come to the end of our first segment of our 1 hour. And now I would like to ask you, Mr. Venkat, because you are our client. You are both our exporter as well as importer. And my question to you is that when we talk about infrastructure, when we talk about demands as to what are the expectations and all, Tata Chemicals has implemented Sarthi, which is an integrated logistics management system. Can you tell us the why, the how, and what are your future plans for it? What came about with this part of it?
Thanks, Chaitaly, and thanks, IICC. This is the first time I'm ever being in a panel. I've always been on that side of the corner. And speaking at the last session is far more easier than speaking in the first session because people will ask less questions.
Oh, then I
On
should...
on a lighter note, but let me,
Oh.
thanks to my senior, Mr. Venkatadri, who's not available today. So I was just wondering about, he told me, you better be the panel today. The boss बोलता है तो कोई choice नहीं है.
So, Mr. Venkat, I will interrupt you here and I will tell you that I am actually known for working with debutantes. So, in this case, we will officially call this as your debut. And can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Venkat for stepping in at the last minute? So, please go ahead.
So necessity is basically what triggers innovation. My learned friend just now said about, you spoke about this US, and I'm very sure going forward, 4 or 5 months back, the river will take its course and we'll be back to normal because that is how India is built. So sometimes disruptions are needed. Why we went for a digitization was more of need. There was no choice. And when there's no choice in life, that's the most easiest situation to work. We were forced to go for digitization because we felt our systems are too dependent upon people. There's uttermost confusion in the way we work. Thanks to that. Right? So what we did basically was we wanted to have a system where, one, I'll just talk about the cultural pillars of Sarthi. We wanted to have a system where everybody talks on one platform. No phone calls, no emails, nothing. Everybody should talk. So we needed a platform which brings all in one platform. We needed a platform which talks about visibility. What happens to all the activities taking place? Can I see whatever is happening? In a typical supply chain, when you talk about visibility, it means where is your vehicle, whether it is rail, whether it is road, or whether it is ship. We wanted visibility. The third was basically audit trails. Audit is very, very important. Whatever good you, howsoever good you are, at the end of the day, the success comes whether you answer the audit or not. So we wanted something which backs us from audit point of view, something which ensures that all deviations are thoroughly documented. We wanted a platform. Fourth was, we wanted to look at a platform which in fact partners our objective of sustainability. How we should make life easier, how we get rid of paper. And last but not the least, we wanted some dashboards which will be our basis of analytics, which was not there. So these were some of the triggers based on which the Sarthi portal was designed. It was also very important for us to ensure that all the modes of transportation are covered in Sarthi, not just road. Today, when I talk about our digital model, I'm proud to say that Tata Chemicals is one of the first companies in India to look at even configuring rail movement in Sarthi. So what was important for us basically was to create a very simple tool, not a complicated tool, because the users of Sarthi are who? Are all those people driving supply chain like transporters who are not even educated. So that was the biggest challenge for us. So it was important for us to understand that the supply chain tool should be simple and at the same time takes care of all the cultural pillars that I just mentioned going forward. Just to summarize what Sarthi is all about, anything coming into Tata Chemicals, anything going out of Tata Chemicals should be monitored, should be seen. And whatever we do, like at the end of the day, everything should be on digital platform, including the bills that the transporters raise, auto-escalated based upon DOAs, no further questioning, everything should be on a single platform. These have been some of the triggers or based on which the Sarthi platform has been designed. It is very important also to create a wow factor in supply chain. So when supply chain matures, people don't look at you just how many trucks you have placed, how many flips you have actually met. What people see is what is the wow factor, what is the thing which is different. How do you attract the management towards supply chain? Because in most cases, supply chain is not that respected. Thoda, oh, so we need to earn our own respect by creating our own products. So these are some of the fundamental reasons why Tata Chemicals embark on a journey of digitalization. And as I speak, I would say digital is not complete, it is still on, but we are very sure we are on the right track.
Thank you very much. And for our audience, I would like to ask you, is that Sarthi is only meant for your transport, or is it rolled across for all your other supply chain partners and vendors? So if somebody wants to work with Tata Chemicals in any capacity as in the logistics space, whether it is a customs clearance, whether it is a freight forwarder, whether it could be your insurance guy, anybody who wants to be a partner or a vendor to Tata Chemicals, does everybody have to get on board Sarthi?
So there are two digital tools that we have actually done. One is the domestic logistics, which is branded as Sarthi, and the other digital tool is for export, which is branded as Sagar. Like Balaji Telefilms, everything starts with K. In our case, everything starts with S. So this is Project Sagar, which currently we are doing for exports. Logic pillars remain the same. So even for exports, like all the stakeholders are configured. The challenge is see, exports, you have got more learned people. They may not participate in whatever you're doing. Big challenge. But when you show ROI to people, what is very important in any digital tool is, it should reduce the work not only for you, but also for the stakeholders you're using. Like today somebody said, मैं तुम्हारा portal क्यों use करूँ? मेरे को फायदा क्या है? So once I tell him, you use my portal, stop doing your work, he is ready to accept. Shipping lines will never accept portals, very difficult, right? So I'm sorry to say that, because they have their own portal, why should they use that? So there are challenges to use, but we are very sure we will work in a way that one data and multiple output, one data at one place and multiple users. So all entire supply chain, inbound, outbound, domestic, exports, we are trying to configure on digital platform to make life easy, not only for Tata Chemicals, but also for all the stakeholders, including shipping lines, freight forwarders, CHAs. And the end thing is the customer should see, they should have complete visibility of supply chain. It's a challenge, it's not easy.
I'm going to ask you, Girija, because this is too good an opportunity. Do you think the largest shipping line in the world, Maersk, is ever going to get on? Not that I want to start a controversy, but having given a choice of wanting to work with Tata Chemicals, do you think you want to integrate your API with theirs?
No, absolutely, and it's fantastic, the journey that you guys are going through. Look, and I think just if I may expand on that a bit, I think in the previous panel there was a question around, can you see costs go down year on year? And I think someone mentioned, no, it can't, it's not possible. And I think that's not quite true. You look at any unit economics, you look at your mobile phone, for example. As industries mature, as scale comes, your costs tend to go down. Part of this is the economies of scale, the overall efficiency that come in, but to a large degree and particularly relevant for the supply chain, both upstream, logistics and downstream side of activities, the digitization can create a tremendous amount of efficiency levers. So it's not just the visibility, right? It's like visibility is what? It's data, right? That drives insight and that drives actions. And if you are able to drive actions with the data that you have in a manner which is consistent, it can create a tremendous amount of value for everybody involved. And yes, absolutely, happy to integrate the APIs.
Good. There you have one shipping line who's ready to get on board you. All right, my next question is for Viraj. We are moving out from this and we are getting into the challenges that we all face. My question to you is, what policy hurdles or bureaucratic challenges mostly discourage private investment and modernization in logistics infrastructure?
I think there's a lot that can be said about the challenges, especially around logistics infrastructure. I think with our foray into the logistics infrastructure space, obviously with the launch of the air freight station that we have in Delhi, I think that there's a lot of challenges, and 1 hour would be very little time to.
Yes. So I need you to be crisp and tell us a couple of them at least.
Okay. So I think, generally speaking, from an overview, I think that land acquisition. I know that one of the clauses is that the land needs to be, specifically for an AFS, land needs to be owned or have a 25-year lease. That has to be a part of it. Things like this, which I feel like discourage private investment in that front. I think that there's a lot of clearances from a lot of, just a lot of bureaucracy, and a lot of clearances required, in our opinion, from a lot of non-relevant stakeholders. And, the list goes on. But I think in a nutshell, I think that the way that India is growing and our aspirations are, I think, and there is a lot of change, there is a lot of improvement, but I think that there's still a lot to be done.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think Vipin Uncle is going to be happy with that answer.
Exactly.
All right. When we talk about infrastructure challenges, I have to ask you this, Girija, and please feel free, Arjun, if you would like to chime in, is that railways is very integral. It's not just integral for the shipping lines, it's also integral for the hinterlands. Everybody keeps talking about sustainability and how we should reduce pressure on road and start getting into using more of the railways. My question to you is that because hinterland is your product and it's your baby, and it's also very integral for bringing cargo from there into the ports, what are the challenges that you face when you are using them? And what do you think are your solutions, probably even just one or two of them, for improving our railway infrastructure? Because it's not the best. I mean, I know we have Concor and that railways are better than what it used to be before, but let's be honest, the goods trains are always given the last clearances compared to the passenger trains. So if you can just give share your thoughts.
And honestly, I think, look, I think we tend to have suspended animation in life, right? So the fact is, yes, historically we've not invested in the freight side of infrastructure in the country, but I think progressively and in an accelerated pace, that's changing absolutely rapidly. And we can see this in the usage, in the adoption, how DFC is taking shape and so on and so forth. So there are challenges which have specific point in time. Like, for example, there are challenges in the connectivity to Nhava Sheva that are related to some land acquisitions, and those are at times state subjects and things like that, which become harder in an environment like ours. And when we compare with, let's say, some Far East economy, those specific come in. But inherently, I think the direction is clear. It's cheaper, faster, and more sustainable to use rail transportation. We are able to use a sizable amount of our cargo on double stack on the larger train, so you get at least 2 to 2.5x efficiency right there. The hub and spoke architecture that government is working on, it's a long project. It will take time, right? But that will create a fairly strong operating design to how rail network works in the country. And it will enable hinterland to send cargo to port in a far more efficient and predictable manner. So I think we are in the right direction. We've been the largest container train operator in the country, and we continue to leverage existing CTOs. We started last year running our own rakes, and we are accelerating that progress as well. And I see no reason why larger and more part of India will not get connected via rail network in a more sustainable way over the next couple of years.
Thank you. That sounds very optimistic. Before we close this topic, Mr. Venkat, I would like your views on, why we don't, and then I'm going to piggyback on you, Girija, once again, because coastal shipping and railways. So from a perspective of a client user, what do you think stops most of the bigger companies or even the smaller ones from using railways? And I would like both your opinions on why hasn't coastal shipping really taken off in India, especially from a shipping lines perspective. Girija, that would be really nice before we close off and then we move on to the other sector. And Arjun, thank you for being very patient. I am coming to you. I haven't forgotten you.
So again, I think part of the reason is the demographics in the country, the way demographics is, and for anybody to make money in a sustainable manner, your flows need to be consistent. And we've looked at, for example, in our own scheme of things, coastals very, very closely, and I think we were discussing this a bit earlier. A multimodal approach has to be, by definition, multimodal, right? What China has done with waterways, for example, is a phenomenal journey, and there's a lot that India needs to do there, and frankly, we are on that side a bit behind, but I think it's probably changing and changing rapidly. And some of the rules, relaxation around cabotage that have recently been effected, that will enable those changes, because if you look at it, the way India is from west to south and to east, it makes it inherently somewhat difficult to create a coastal movement that is sustainable. But I think there are some good success stories. You see some of the adoption by car carriers. They will see adoption by large bulk companies like Tata Chemical, etc. And that will create a domestic plus EXIM kind of a common sort of a backbone that could possibly, over the next couple of years, drive the uplift.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Mr. Venkat. Sorry, your mic.
See, for using rail and all, you need to be, first of all, big enough. You can't be a small player because rail doesn't work. The typical problem of, I'll tell you one thing, when we also meet railway board, today railways are willing to listen to whatever you want. Sometimes we fail to articulate whatever we want. So today if you go to a railway board and if you talk to any, because they are willing to listen to what is that we need. So that is a very positive development. I've been seeing for the last 3 years, whenever we sit with the railway board or somebody at the CFTM level, they ask us, "Aapko kya chahiye?" You cannot tell them, "I want tomorrow," and forget. It has to be a sustainable option for 5 years. They know why railways have not worked. See, today, if you see PFTs are more successful than railways, because railways, whenever you move goods from railways, first of all, the sidings are not in proper shape. Railways have not invested money in siding as they should have done. So while rail coefficient keeps on growing, there is a glitch in terms of the rail siding itself. Most of the sidings don't have platforms to unload. Upar material gets damaged. Shabby condition, cement pura bhara hua rehta, it's full damage. Nothing has been done. Secondly, warehouses are away from sidings. So whatever money you save on rail, you end up paying more in terms of handling. Handling is highly unionized in India. The handling rates go up to 300-400 rupees per ton for cargo, which becomes difficult to handle. Who can pay that? So while primary rail freight is good, the secondary part needs to be looked at. Moving anywhere in India, suppose today if you move from Kalyan to Bhiwandi, 500 rupees per ton is the freight rate, plus Matadi handling. So the railways per se have not done, they should have, in fact they are not invested in the sidings part. Second thing, the other downstream part of rail in terms of, in fact railway should look at developing the sidings, putting warehouses very close, as PFTs have done, which will make this a very successful supply chain. So all this, if they do, railways can be a good supply chain solution for most companies. On coastal part, I would say high PDAs, port tariffs. You cannot, a small vessel of 5,000 ton cannot pay so much huge tariffs. They can't sustain.
Correct.
Secondly,
Agreed.
diesel fuel still not subsidized and no incentive. Everybody talks about greening, but where is the incentive to use coastal? There also, I will say most ports, we have unions. The freights are 25-30% higher. It kills all the incentive or all that is there for primary movement of coastal. This is my answer.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being very honest and telling us what the actual problems are. So the next time we have a meeting at Delhi, we will tell them that these are the genuine problems, and hopefully they'll come out with that, with the power of the association and all. Arjun, thank you for being patient and waiting. I have to ask you this. From a service provider's angle, right? LCL business is very, very important, just as much as FCL is. Sometimes I feel we don't give it that much of importance. Of course, from the co-loaders' point of view, it is, because your company is one of the top 10 co-loaders in the country. I have to ask you that what are your customers' expectations? Because I'm piggybacking from Mr. Venkat to you on this, from one customer to a service provider, is what are your top 3 requirements of your customers, and how do you, oscillate or navigate between local customers' demands and overseas customers' demands. So can you tell us that? And do you think the LCL industry per se, not just in India, but globally, is equipped to handle all of that?
Sure. Thanks, Chaitaly. Thank you for the question. Just to tell you, from an LCL point of view, LCL consolidation is done out of forwarders, out of custom brokers and forwarders, both local and overseas. For a prolonged period of time, so say from 2008 till 2013, we had a good mix of both local cargo and global cargo as well, global accounts, because we were exclusive agents of Vanguard from 2008 till 2013, and then Vanguard decided to come in and they had their own office, fine. So from 2013 till 2023, 24, so all of our cargoes, all the cargo that goes in our boxes, be it our prepaid cargo or our agents' nominations, it was all local cargo, right? And local cargo, how we were procuring that local cargo, of course, it's via the sales efforts. We have about 80 to 100 salespeople on the ground. And I don't think, I will talk about tech in a bit, but I don't think tech is, filling up my warehouses. If my warehouse is full today, it's because of the hard work and the relationships and the human interactions that we have with our clients. So now, as far as global accounts are concerned, and I'll just give you an example of human interaction as well and how it's played out with global accounts. So we are part of this network called the Cargo World Network.
Okay.
And we are on the board of the Cargo World Network, and we represent the network in India. We have our board of director from Germany also sitting there in the audience. Marcus, say hi. Yeah.
Oh, Marcus is my friend first before he's yours. Right, Marcus? I'm taking that.
CWN basically comprises of best LCL consolidators in every region, and we are about 55 members, but about 5 to 6 members contribute about 70% of the volumes.
That's massive.
And we together move about 7 million cubic meters on an annual basis. Now, only recently, Mr. Dimitri Offe, who has been a seasoned multinational guy, in the sense he's worked with global consolidators for 25 years. So he came on board as the CEO of CWN, of the network. And he was actually here in November. And he said, Arjun, let's do some sales calls, right? Let's go the traditional way, do some sales calls, meet all the MNCs and see what the reaction is. So at first, when Dimitri is entering, everybody knows him.
Yes.
So he's always welcomed by a hug. There is no need for an introduction. And with leveraging his experience and our sort of reach and our presence in the Indian market, there's an immediate shift, I would say, in the minds of the MNCs that, okay, these guys can deliver. And since then, the response has been fantastic. So again, coming back to human interaction, why it's so important, why going to the client, meeting them, building those relationships is so important. So yes, we are going into that space again, and Dimitri used to work with us when we were at Vanguard, and it's sort of a full circle for him. So yes, tech is important, and it is important. So business is human interaction assisted by tech. Tech can't control as far as LCL is concerned, for sure.
Thank you very much. I don't like technology. I have to use technology because that's how the world goes. But having said that, we have a couple of tech geeks over here. So it would just make sense to piggyback on tech. And I have to ask this to you, Rohan. You are the tech guy. We have a lot of technology available, but it's not necessarily the cheapest and most affordable for the MSMEs and the SMEs. So what is your advice to the companies who haven't invested in tech? And also for those who want to upgrade their existing tech so that they remain relevant and future-proof. And we just have a little few more minutes. So So I'm going to please request you to be brief. Thank you.
So look, I've always believed that we don't do earth-shattering work, right? We just move cargo from A to B. And there's a lot of documentation that goes into that cargo movement. Maybe there is compliance involved. It's not that difficult. The kind of tech that I keep working towards achieving is making our internal operations more and more effective. Our communication, reducing our reliance on email as the only medium of communication, finding ways to have live tracking, give more ease of use for customers at the end, right? I see a lot of tech companies focusing on price. Everybody is looking at price distribution, procurement, which at some point is fair. You know, someone's going to be $50 higher, someone's $50 lower. So what we're doing right now is we've implemented a lot of AI engines, AI agents who are helping us. You know, it takes about 20 seconds to create a BL draft from an invoice and packing list. So I have a demo in my booth. We've just built this over the last few months. We've implemented AI to check and audit invoices. So the AI tool goes through the inbox, downloads the invoices, uploads these into the accounting software, matches that with the quote you have from the vendor, and if there is a dispute, it's able to send out an email to the vendor, and then it gives you, ready to pay figure. Just imagine, today we have 20 people doing this all across India. And now all we need is intelligent operators who can then say this is okay to pay or not to pay. So the 19 people who are not going to do this anymore can focus on what he said, build relationships, actually look for solutions. So what can people do? What can SME and MSME companies do? I think we're not a software company, we're a freight forwarding company, but people need to be ready to accept change. There are enough and many companies in India who are offering solutions and they're quite affordable. They just need to spend some time, take extra time out to explore and see what works for them.
Thank you. And this tech is specifically for your company.
I'd just like to chip in. I completely agree with what Rohan is saying. When I talk about tech, I talk about increasing operational efficiencies, right? Since our very inception, we have invested heavily in it. Right from carting to, stuffing, BL drafts, invoices, and delivery. Everything is online, everything is digitalized, which has definitely increased the efficiency within our company. We've actually also launched an online e-pricing and booking platform, which goes by the name of EMU. So, and it's by our stall, so if you have time, just please visit. So that's basically on a click of a button, you can get LCL quotes along with pickup and delivery rates across 27,000 pin codes within India. And which partially, I don't know if sort of that falls on hinterlands, but yes, it covers 27,000 pin codes. We've partnered up with ShipRocket, and they're completely integrated with us. So we built it for the customers. Right now, the overseas customers are using it, especially where there's a major time difference, again, like Central South America or Europe or North America, where just on a click of a button, you get a quote, you book your shipment, and then you have complete visibility right from pickup until delivery. So yes, we are investing in it, but yes, there's a cost to it. There is a cost, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's very impressive.
Chaitaly, you're maybe the 50th person who's asked me if that's only for my company.
Yes.
So one thing I'm taking back to the drawing room is how to make this into a product and possibly make it accessible to more customers.
Yes.
And also to all my friends.
Yes.
Of course, the intent is not to be a software company, but if it helps you, it helps you. I have no problem.
Radha sir, he said it here first. We'll launch it at FFFAI then. All right. Having said that, it's a very interesting conversation, and this is, I think, for everybody to understand that if you have access to these kind of tools, or if Rohan is going to be kind enough to put it up in the market, or like as you said, it's very impressive. 27,000 pin codes is massive, and yes, that means it's the hinterlands, then that's very, very good. We are going to come to the end of our this segment, and I have to ask you this, Girija, that for all of you who may not be aware, Maersk Maersk has just announced an $8 billion investment in India and a $2 billion investment into shipbuilding and repair building over here in India, which is very good news over here. What I want to ask you is that you are very big on sustainability, innovations and all when it comes to Maersk. With the dedicated freight corridors that India is coming up with, do you guys have any plans for, or do you have any innovative products that are happening, keeping in mind, I'm piggybacking on what Arjun just mentioned about them tying up with Shiprocket for giving their clients access for both the first mile and last mile. So does Maersk have something in plan, keeping in mind the dedicated freight corridors and that you have your investment lined up?
I think, Chaitaly, the number of components to your question. Yes. We have a fantastic digital spot product. You can book online, start from ICD or from port, wherever you'd like to do. That already exists. And look, on the point on the investment in India, it's a phenomenal market. It's a growing market. And I genuinely believe that for India, the moment is ahead. And it's going to happen over next, let's say, maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years. The transition from a services-led growth to a manufacturing-led growth is clearly very visible. It's underway, and we want to play that, right? We've been fairly large in the country, as you know, and we have fantastic presence. We want to be where the upcoming infrastructure and the manufacturing clusters are. So that's the game plan for us. When we've digitized our entire backbone, and all of that is being done out of a tech center in Bangalore that's fairly large for us, right? So in a way, it's good for us because we get to be early adopters to most of those tech. And definitely, like I think Rohit and Arjun mentioned, most of this is operational tech. It allows for us to do things faster, cheaper, better. And that benefit is what gets passed to the customers, because that's the only way you're going to go down to a single-digit cost of logistics. It's not by paying people lesser or things like that, right?
Okay. Thank you very much. I have one question to ask. I know it's a little off the cuff, but I wanted everybody's opinion in maybe 1 or 2 lines before I go to the last segment of our panel discussion. Do you think all of us are multimodal operators? You, Mr. Venkat, are a multimodal user with vendors and partners like us. Do you think we have the capacity and the capability to withstand the pressure and the demand that is going to come up, or that has already started coming in with our Make in India initiative? The fact that the INMEC is very, very important right now. We have India's neighborhood first policy and all. Do you think our roads, rails, ships, airs, and all of us combined together have the capability and capacity to stand up and withhold to the pressures and the demands? Just one line or even a couple of sentences, and we'll move on to the last segment. Whoever wants to go first.
So,
Mr. Venkat?
I'll tell you in terms of road, what has happened is while the roads have improved and while the vehicles, we have electrical vehicles, CNG vehicles, what the government should do is increase capacity of vehicles. Today, even if you see the costliest vehicle can load only 40 tons. Like China, where you have 60 tons, 70 tons going forward, India needs to look at, with improvement in road conditions, they need to look at higher vehicle capacities going forward. You wanted one line, this is my one line.
Thank you very much.
I think from my perspective, it's a clear trajectory, very, very visible change. I would encourage people to actually go out, visit some of the new developments, see some of the port. I mean, if you look at port turnaround time, right? We used to be one of the laggards and until, let's say, about 4 or 5 years ago. And today, I think an average port turnaround time is less than, I think, about 36 to 38 hours, barring exigencies that come in. So there is a tremendous, I think, improvement that's visible. It's a journey, right? And I think we are pretty much well on track.
Thank you. Viraj?
Yeah, I think that going back to the earlier point I said, I think it's just important to stay flexible. There's one way or the other. If orders are coming in, goods will move out. There's always a constraint, and it's just about staying ahead of the curve, right?
Yes.
There was a lot that was said earlier in terms of technology. I think that's something that everyone has to implement. There's no way out of it. Scaling up There are three main things: people, process, and technology. I think if all aligns from all levels, I think the government level, from an independent entrepreneurial level, from an organization level, if these three things align, I think anything can be achieved.
Thank you. Arjun?
I think the panel summed it up. We definitely are ready for it. We have the infrastructure to meet the demands. Both sort of, and I think what, as a country, we've done in the past 15 years, we can definitely manage it.
Thank you. That sounds good.
Well, I think I might disagree a little bit, but I think we have a lot of work to be done because if we do want to grow our economy to that level, there's a lot of work to be done. And I hope the government keeps on prioritizing infrastructure. And even though we're doing Make in India, I think there is a lot more to be done in infrastructure.
I think with the fact that, we have new ports coming up, Vadwan is the most exciting news that we've heard in a while. We have a lot more new airports that have been demarked and that they are planning to come up with that. And the fact that the tier 2 and tier 3 cities are now getting into their own groove and are giving competition to the tier 1. The next couple of years is going to be good for us. And then that makes me come to the last part of our segment, and that is going to be people. We are, as much as tech is, we are people-driven. We have people, we need to take care of them, we cajole them, we have to grow them, upskill them. So I need to ask all of you as to what are the practices that each one of you follows when it comes to people management in your company. If you could just give probably one or two, because we just have 8 minutes to go. And if you could give us one or two examples, that's, the audience here could probably try and imbibe in their own organizations that you would be happy to talk about. What is it that you do to upskill your people? Because today training is the most important. And I'm now speaking as the chairperson for BCBA, for the Skills and Training Development Committee, that we've rolled out so many programs. We don't see that kind of traction with people wanting to come on board, even though these are webinars, and we do them across all levels, across all spectrums for the people of the industry, of course, from freight forwarding and from customs brokers. I want to ask you guys as to what is it that you all do and what could possibly be the reason why people may not be interested, if at all, in upskilling or upgrading themselves. We can have, I would request all of you to be brief, but yes, please.
Well, I think the traditional skill set that people came with, or the people who joined this industry, are not ones who were specifically trained for this. And we need a lot of, I think, people with 20 years of experience are possibly more valuable to the company than an MBA who did a lot of training as well. So what we're doing is we do sponsor every year, let's say 4 to 5 people. We have an internal selection process. People can apply, and then we sponsor them to go attend the IIFF freight forwarding course. We do have 2 or 3 people in every branch who need to be always trained in DG. So we do that as well. We're trying to reduce their work, because genuinely, most of our teams, back office teams, are overworked, right? They start work at 9 a.m., many times they're working until 8 p.m. Now that we have our own large exposure to South America, some of us are working until midnight.
Correct.
Right? So unless we understand that we need to give them breaks and we need to push them to prioritize, training. All our managers, a big part of their KPI is that they have to do several trainings. They have to conduct several trainings for their team every year. So that's reviewed by HR as well. We're trying. I think there's a long way to go. But we love what you guys are doing in FFFAI, and we'll keep, helping our people to go attend that and do something.
Thank you. Please do keep BCBA in mind also. We do a lot of programs
the
online.
entire industry, whatever's available.
Thank you. But that's a very good initiative. I think I would want to do that in our company too. Thank you. Arjun?
Chaitaly, we are, like you rightly said, we are a people-driven business. We are a people business, right?
Yes.
And training is important where training is required. So don't train a salesperson how to do documentation.
Correct.
So what we do is our trainings are very centric to the department. because the industry that we're in, a simple documentation mistake, a simple operational error can go into huge hundreds and thousands of dollars. So yes, we take training very seriously. We identify people, which people are there every year, identify people that are ready for the next step, give them international exposure, take them out for conferences, for AGMs. And yes, we have on a quarterly basis, we have our trainings which are departmental centric. That's what
That's
we do.
very interesting, and that's very nice too. Viraj?
There's a lot that we're doing in terms of, learning and development, training, and, I think in the history of Continental, I think right now is the time where, we're focusing on it as much as we've ever had. But I think the only thing I'll highlight in terms of our principles, in terms of how we manage people, right? Because you said, how do you encourage people to train? I think the idea is to, have a broader vision, have everyone connect into that. And then I think the idea is to put them in challenging spaces and encourage and support, right?
Yes.
We hold very dearly to certain values and principles. One is that our people, their success is our success. And that, in that, I think automatically the vision becomes clear. What are the steps? What is the upskilling? There's not that much convincing that's required then. So I think this is the direction that we've taken, and it's been great so far.
That's very nice. For Girija and for Mr. Venkat, I would like to, for you in very brief to probably 2 sentences as to how do you keep your staff happy. I know Tata is legendary, but I have to ask you as to, because you head and you are the Chief Product Officer, what do you do to keep your team happy?
Great question. Just quickly on the previous one, great summarization by panel. For us, 2 things incrementally. One, bring women to workforce. We have 2 fully operated, women-operated warehouses, and it took some time, but once you got placed, you get better attrition, you get better productivity. Secondly, I think we talked about tech. You bring tech in the right way, your training needs go down. In terms of the workforce, look, at the end of the day, you got to establish an ability to have a purpose for an individual. If you come in, you earn your salary, you go home, and you are meandering through the day, you're not going to be engaged. So having an engaged workforce is something that we spend tremendous amount of time on, making sure that we understand what is it that that individual, which could be a Gen Z or it could be a tenured person, what kind of needs they have, and how do we make sure that those, if you solve that, frankly, rest of it is pretty easy.
Thank you.
See, India is a land of emotions. We need to understand that systems don't work. That is why somebody said that engaging with customers on one-to-one is more important than sending him emails.
Agreed.
You need to take care of emotions of people. Go beyond the person,
True.
what he is. Second thing is, you should show the big picture, what for he is born today. So company's vision is this, and what is that you are contributing. He should feel happy, I'm also contributing. Third thing is, engage with him. See, people get stuck. You cannot make milk from an ox. You should understand that. Sometimes when people get stuck, you have to pitch in. You cannot say ki tum kar do. That is where they look at support. Supporting when it is needed. And last but not the least, reward when it is actually needed. Or rewarding is very, very. These are some of the things which makes employees happy.
Thank you very much. And we are on time. We actually are 2 minutes early, Pinky, so we should, oh yes, of course. And we, thank you. I listened to you, Padmaji. We were short and crisp. All right. We are now open for Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, thank you very much. I think we summed up the session wonderfully well. And there has been takeaway from every single segment that we did. So I hope you paid attention and you could have one solution, at least in something that we have discussed today. With that, the floor is open for Q&A. If anybody has any questions of our panelists.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It was a pleasure to hear you all. My first question is for the Arjun, that while we shifting the focus from logistics to multimodal logistics, the biggest operational challenges which I foresee is the pilferage and damages. While shifting from one vehicle or one containers to another containers and everything. And being one of the largest consolidator line, have you overcome this kind of challenges? My second question is for the Girija. that while government is focusing on the inland waterways, transportation and everything, but on the ground we cannot see anything concrete on that. So what is, do you have any kind of long-term planning from the government side or anything to minimize the logistic cost or being logistics more effective?
Thank you very much for your questions. Both of them are very interesting. May I please request you to introduce yourself, just your name and your company's name, please?
Hi, myself Urvish. I am from Tata Chemicals.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for the question. Sir, you're right. We've been victims to it too. Pilferages and thefts, we have been, and damages, of course. And they still happen. I'll be lying if I say they don't. They happen in transit. They probably happen while we are stuffing the container or while it's getting destuffed. As far as pilferages are concerned, I think they have reduced to the bare minimum. Certain places, there are certain places in the south of India, certain ports, and we've stopped using those ports. We've stopped using those carriers, those services, to avoid pilferages. As far as damages are concerned, we try our level best to, lash it, choke it to the best of our abilities. But yes, if there are certain things that are beyond our control, which happens in transit, that's something it's not under control. But as far as origin is concerned, when we are stuffing the container, we take photos, we send it to the customers. When the container is getting destuffed, they take photos. Okay, this is how the container looks. This is how we've sort of destuffed it. And if there are damages to be reported, then we handle it. But yes, that's, I think, part and parcel of it. But we're trying to minimize to the best of our abilities. Yes.
Thank you, Arjun. Girija.
Yeah, on the inland waterways side, I think the challenge is the actual availability, right? If you see down south, most of the rivers are seasonal. Up north, barring maybe a couple of, and you don't really see tremendous amount of, therefore, use cases that would be, through the year. And that's where the geography is quite different compared to some of the other countries like China. And I think the more apt use case is actually the coastal, because there you can create a lot more sustainable and sizable supply chain backbone, provided some of the issues that we talked about get addressed.
Thank you. And we have time for just one last question. Does anybody have? Should we close the session then? Just one last question. All right. And I think with that, we close the session. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It has been extremely interesting having to hear you. Thank you for the audience. I think the very fact that we still have so many of you here means a lot. So please, another round of applause just for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, for being here and listening to us. It means a lot, because I know being last session, there are people waiting at your booths, but you took your time out to be with us over here and listen to our panelists means a lot. So thank you very much. Ayushi, I hope you're happy. All right, the stage is yours and the mic is yours.
The last panel discussion for today, and that was a powerful one. Come on, guys, some energy before you all go home. A big round of applause for them. That was a very, very insightful panel discussion. Now I request Mr. Mohit Mewani to join us on stage to felicitate our remarkable industry leaders and present them with our token of appreciation, along with our remarkable moderator, Ms. Chaitaly Mehta. We would first like to felicitate Mr. Rohan Dixit from Clearship Group. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Arjun Mohindru from EMU Lines. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Viraj Vohra from Continental Carriers. Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Girija Shanker. Next, Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Venkat Krishnan Balakrishnan. And now we would like to felicitate our absolutely remarkable moderator for this session, Ms. Chaitaly Mehta. Can we have everyone for a group photograph, please? All our wonderful panelists. Can we have a smiling group photograph, please? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mivani, and thank you once again to our absolutely wonderful panelists.